Mhm. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my live channel. Well, this is not exactly my live channel. This is my regular channel, but anyways. And today's topic, we're going to talk about what makes a woman confident with Omega Courtney. So I'm going to introduce you to my guest, Omega Courtney. Say hi, Omega Courtney. Courtney.
Hello. Hi. How are we doing with your family?
uh, yeah, give
I
me
hope
one.
everybody is well on this Malcolm X Day. We are throwing our X's up all day today for the
I
one and
know,
only Malcolm X, the honorable.
right.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
everybody, before you start, get your crowns ready because we're about to have a royal night. So, I'm going to get people a few seconds to get in the chat.
I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah. So, I'm going to get people a few minutes to get in the chat and we'll get started.
Yes, I am definitely getting my crown fixed, honey. Getting my crown all prepared for this, sis. Yes, yes. So tell me, Black Princess, tell me a little bit about so you grew up in Cali. You're a Cali girl.
Oh my God, Courtney, give me a second. My niece is running amok in the house. Give me a second.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so that's been taken care of. So everybody, welcome my guest, Omega Courtney. So today we're going to talk about, relationships
Hello,
with women.
hello.
Yes, today we're going to talk about relationships with women and, in marriage and how to deal with, dusties. So Omega Courtney, I have a question for you. What makes a woman confident?
You know, Black Princess, that is such a great question because I actually think it changes as you grow, or as I like to say, as you glow. Um, I, to be honest, for a long time, what made me confident is in how I looked. That's where I gained my confidence from. I thought, the better that I looked, the better I felt, and that was really my key to how I how I how I presented myself. If I was having, a cute outfit day, if I was having, a really a well put together exterior, then I thought, okay, this will be how this sets the tone for my day. But I've found that as I have grown up, it starts internally, and I start my day with prayer. I start my day with talking to my mom and my grandmother, my ancestors, and God and telling God how I want the day to go, and just walking in the spirit of that confidence of knowing that whatever's happening through that day is happening for the the best of me and not for the detriment of me. So I would definitely say it has changed as I have grown. When I was teenager and in my 20s, I just thought it was all about my look. I used to wear a really long weave. I used to get my hair dyed. I was all done and everything like that. And as I've gotten into adulthood, have definitely had a lot of experiences. Have definitely some hills and some valleys, if you will. But I know by the grace of God, absolutely, everything is working out for the good. And these experiences have made me become more in tune with who I am internally, as opposed to how I look to everyone else. So, it definitely has changed throughout the decades. It definitely has changed, and I'm just really proud of the woman that I am now. I'm very proud of the woman I'm becoming. Like, in my 20s, I never thought I would be getting into politics. I never thought I would not be wearing weaves. I just never thought I couldn't see myself without this. I've been single and celibate for 5 years. For a long time, I just really thought, hey, having a man defines me, and for a long time it did. And for a long time it did. And then when I got divorced, like having to look at me without my husband, my ex-husband, who had been my husband for 15 years, I had been with 15 years, that defined me. And I was very confident who I was because my ex-husband, he was a lawyer and he was a professor, he was all of these things. And without him, it really made me look at, the qualities in me that I'm very proud of. I'm a daughter of, two very educated, smart social workers, incredible people in their own right. I'm the granddaughter of a two-time commissioner, two-time mayor. And I myself am very ambitious, creative. Seeing myself as a mother has definitely changed my confidence. I'm a mother of two. So it's a great question because I definitely think you ask that question to a 10-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 20-year-old, a 30-year-old, 40-year-old, 50-year-old, 70-year-old, and get totally different answers. And luckily, I'm glad that I found my way through all of those other exterior and superficial means of confidence to really find things internally that make me confident in who I am.
Oh, okay.
And
So,
I hope that answers.
yeah, it answers a lot. Thank you. Because as women, once, because we look at social media, we look up to these rappers and these models, these especially Instagram models, and we go by based on how we look. So we try to change up, within ourselves so that we can appear more to men instead of just doing it for ourselves as women. And we ended up, getting, plastic surgery, getting the big butts, and getting our breasts enlarged because that's the trend that, young people follow nowadays. And once after that surgery has been done, there's a lot of regret at the end of the day because, the butt, starts to look disformed and the breast starts to sag. So it's
They
best
sure
for,
do. You always have to go get that work done again. Yep.
yeah. So it's best to, for young ladies to think about, getting the surgery before doing it. So that,
I think that's a great topic. I really think that's a great topic to get on, because of course I'm down here in Miami, right?
mm-hmm,
And I've seen a lot of those. I used to be a personal trainer, and I'm a former licensed nutritionist. I still have the, I just don't have the certification. But one thing that I really recognize almost immediately how young those were getting work done. I could not believe. So I used to train two dancers from the King of Diamonds. And if you guys haven't, never heard about the King of Diamonds, it's like it was one of the biggest, strip clubs, adult entertainment spots in the South. Um, Lil Wayne before Live and all of that. Lil Wayne used to have, his VIP parties there and that sort of thing. So I used to train two of their dancers. And I had the distinct opportunity of sitting in one of their they had they would have meetings, so I was able to sit in one of their meetings because I was waiting to talk to the girls all at once, or the dancers all at once at the same time, because we had a corporate discount for the gym that I was working at the time, and so I wanted to present it to all of them at once, as opposed to telling the two girls that I trained, because they don't take back the information. So I'm sitting in this meeting, and y'all, it is, I don't like to use the term ghetto, but everybody was going around basically offering up, like it would be the time where you're asking for time off and things like that. So just imagine a regular corporate job, but instead of saying, hey, my wife just had a baby, so I wanted week off and be home with them, the girls were like, hey, I gotta go get my ass done. Hey, I gotta go get these titties redone. I gotta get this nose redone. Oh, I gotta, I'm going in for a in office, and the in office, or the term that they were using was basically to let you know that they were going to they were going in for an abortion. So, but I just couldn't believe, like, everybody in this room, and these women were, when I tell you, just, they were like what IG is made out of. And they all were talking about what work they were going to get done, boobs over here, ass over here, little fat trans here, a couple of girls were going out of town to go get some work done. And I was just like, these girls looked amazing. And that's the trick of the enemy. That's the trick of the enemy, like, literally, to make you think that you need this work done when you're already perfect as you are. It literally says in scripture, you're made in his image. You're made perfect. So I tell you, once I really started to dig into work, once I really started to have a lot of time with myself, being on this solo glow up, I really started to understand all of what my mom and my grandmother used to try to feed into me when I was growing up. Because I mean, from the moment I could get weave, I wanted weaves. I think I got my first, my first tracks got laid when I was about 14. And my mom was just, getting them done. Like she just got it done for me for the beginning of the school year. But I would be like, no, I got to keep getting, I have to keep getting these tracks done. And it was so much to the point with me wearing weaves that when I finally took weave out for good, people thought I had hair. Like, because they honestly had never seen my hair. They thought that my hair was, they thought I had long hair. And it was really something that I lived in this facade for so many years, because I didn't want to see myself with short nappy hair. That did not embody to me. And so it still blows my mind when I think about, this room full of these ladies. I mean, all young, nobody was over 24. Nobody was on 24. I was the oldest person in that room. And I think at the time, what was I was 34. I was 34. None of those girls were close to 30. They were all talking about getting work done. And some of them getting work done again. They had something done 2 years ago, and it was time for them to go back in. And that is, honestly, that's the trick of plastic surgery too. That's the trick, y'all.
Yeah, because
When I was a trainer, inspired about getting my breast
better than the other. Everybody get those crowns up.
Exactly.
Let you guys know.
Yes.
Do those crown emojis, because you guys are not my royal subjects. We're royalty. We're all royalty up in here. Okay, so get those crowns going. put up those crown emojis. Okay, the
Yes.
royal court is in session. Okay, so
Yes,
yeah, so
absolutely.
yeah, so so
Yeah, the beauty does start. The beauty has to start internally. It really does. Because if
exactly.
you're even get to start to tell you that you're pretty, they'll never tell you that because how are they going to make their money? How are they going to make their money? And I thank God to this day that the reason why I didn't get my breasts done was because I didn't realize that, okay, because I had lost a lot of weight and so my boobs had gone flat. They were like flapjacks on my chest. And I'm naturally a chesty girl, but I had lost like all of the cushion out of them. And but I didn't realize that no matter what, you still had to get an implant. Stuff up and that could be that. I didn't realize that you still had to get an implant, because it made sense when he said it. He was like, well, Courtney, what's going to go in there? Oh, two flat, pancakes on you. You're just going to have a smaller version of
Trust
what you
me,
have
Courtney.
now.
I've
And
seen
I felt
girls
so like, you know,
that trust me, Courtney. I've seen women TV shows get their breasts done, and it looks so horrible. It is horrible. It looks like big
they
dudes.
look bad.
It
Yes,
looks so bad because
absolutely.
their breast is bigger than their bodies, and you just look at them like, oh, like you walk around like that. So no, I see that. I was,
No, but and it's true though.
hmm Even Beyonce,
And I'm
she got
telling
her
you,
butt
it
done
just
too. Beyonce
yeah.
got her butt done too. You can tell, even though, it doesn't look as bad as, I can see other girls, but I can tell she got it done. Because it gets out of shape for a while.
You, it gets out of shape. Yeah, you know what? And I think, and I definitely would agree to that. And that's why I tell ladies all the time too. Um, I would tell ladies all the time, a little hard work will make it so that you don't have to do this. Now it's going to take work on your part, but you appreciate it more. And I have literally yeah, like a couple of times it's a BBL workout and it's grueling, it hurts, it's running, it's pushing yourself, but you have such an appreciation for the body that you've shaped yourself that you wouldn't dare think of someone just cutting and cutting you up because you know you achieve it yourself. And that's really the key. That's really one of the key components when I would train. Most of my clients were females, but
Hmm
my I had most of my clients were female, but my females would never stay on. Like they weren't consistent. My men would stay on, So I may have at one point 5 female clients, 2 men, but the next month I have 5 new women, but still the same 2 men. You know what I mean? Men were definitely more committed to doing the work. Yeah, right. It was always very funny like that. Like every month, I would have like a new caravan of girls, but it would be my same 2 guys. But I would tell my girl because the girl the pep talk more than the men in this regard. But I would tell them, you know, your workout is going to be so fierce that they'll think you got work done, but the real confidence, the gag is that you did this all naturally. You did this
Exactly.
yourself. And that's gonna be priceless.
It is priceless.
Exactly,
Everybody
and I
get them
agree. Lord Ty said,
Yes. Everybody get them likes up.
yes, get the
Get
lights
'em.
up, guys.
Moderators, help me out here.
Yeah, I love what
Viva
Viva
likes
said
it.
that she was tempted to do that. Exactly, I was as well.
Girl, who was
I
it?
was as well
Who was
because we have right. Who is it? Even now, like there are things that I'm like, a little bit of money, this and that, because I saw what the prices were, and the doctor was really gonna, he was gonna work with me, and I saw then too how a lot of our young ladies get trapped into it because they have basically like you get your boobs financed, like you finance boobs, like you finance a car, like you finance and just work on your
Oh
body.
yeah, yeah.
And I was watching one. Yeah, it's kind of disgusting. I was watching this one YouTuber, and she was down here in Miami, and she showed the room where everybody was, doing their recovery, like they had just come out of surgery, and y'all, it just looked like it was so disturbing to me because it looked like a high school clinic.
Oh,
These
really?
girls were young, and they were all black. They
Oh
were all
no.
black. You know what? I'm gonna post. They were all black. The channel, I want to say, I'm posting it in here. I want to say it's this. I think it's this. I don't have the link, but I'm gonna post the name of the YouTuber. But yeah, she documented her BBL journey, and for recovery and everything. And the body is tight. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, you can't. We ain't gonna deny it, but it looks fake. It looks fake. It don't look like she worked on it. And people were all in her comments, "Oh, you look so natural. You look so natural." And of course they're gonna say that, because who's gonna say you don't look good after you done got your body, sucked and plucked and cut up and blood and you've been puking. People are gonna say that. Um,
Right,
and they're probably going to say it too because they know that you spent money on it. So,
right.
that's what I found too, especially with our culture. If somebody has spent money on something, we think we're obligated to say it looks good when it doesn't.
But this is
It
what I
doesn't. I mean, it
didn't
looks
know.
nice, but it doesn't look natural.
Somebody said they was in the music industry one time, and they was talking about how the music industry wants you to get your butt done, your breast done, or whatever done to
Yeah.
to be a part of the mainstream media. And I was like, that is so sad
Oh, of
because
course.
who wants to be pressured to do that? Nobody wants to be pressured into doing something that they don't want to do just to become famous or to get themselves out there. That shouldn't be. So
Well,
that tells you that
um,
the music industry is pretty shady, especially towards women.
you show them what you would sacrifice. To me,
Mm-hmm.
that's just how you do it. That's You show them what you're willing to sacrifice, and you're willing, and you show them how you're willing to be controlled. If they can say to you, "Hey, I don't like how big your nose is. Go and get that and come back." And then you come back 2 weeks later and your nose is chopped up. Wow, they know you can be controlled.
Mm-hmm.
You know. I remember I was my smallest ever, and I'm 5'2".
Mm-hmm.
I'm 5'2", and so naturally I've always been like on the heavier side, like 160, 170. But at my smallest, when I was training very hard in the gym, always fasting, I got down to 128, and was between 128 and 132 very consistently, very consistently. And so
Right.
I wanted to do a workout tape, a workout video. And so I went to this production company about doing a workout video, and they were like, "Well, that's that's a good idea because that's a really hot, trend right now, but you're gonna need to get off about 20 pounds." And I'm like, "From where? From
Yeah.
what?" I mean, I was so tiny, princess. I was so tiny. I was
Uh,
tahini. Tahini. I was fitting into size twos and and I just couldn't believe that. And they said it so nonchalantly. They were like, "Do you need help? Like, do you need help getting it off?" And here I am, a nutritionist. So I know what they were saying. Like, did I need some type of drug? Did I need some type of stimulant? But
Uh-huh.
do I need help?
Hmm.
I definitely need to come down 20 more pounds. And of course, I never went back. I didn't get a tape done, but it really shocked me, and it hurt. It hurt. It definitely hurt to hear. It definitely hurt. It definitely hurt to hear because even at that time, where I felt like I was my best. You hear me? I felt like I was my
Hmm.
best me. It they throw that out there so easily, so easily. Like,
Right.
no, no, it's not. It's not your best. It's not the best.
No, you yeah, I tell
Um,
you the truth, nobody's gonna be
but
satisfied.
yeah,
You
I was a
Nobody's
booking
gonna be
agent.
satisfied. Because everybody's gonna have a little
No, with nothing.
yeah, because everybody's gonna have a
Very
little
true.
thing
With no,
to
absolutely.
yeah, everybody's gonna have something to pick on you. If you lose that weight, people are gonna find something else to, say. If if you put on makeup and you're pretty,
Of
somebody's gonna
course.
try to and find something else to say. It's like you can't win. You know what I mean? So so it's like, you just have to ignore
Of
the
course.
hate because it's all hate. People, don't like to see other people win. You know, just it's all you have to do is just be yourself. If you be yourself, you're gonna be more confident at the end. You know what I'm saying?
Of course. But I think that's so hard for people to be themselves until a certain age. They can be themselves maybe up to about 9 or 10. Then it becomes, what is everybody else doing? Does someone else have, these shoes? Does someone else does someone else have this hairstyle? What are people going to say? And that's what's been the hardest for me with being a mom, of seeing that transition, seeing my kids go from just kind of, just being in their own little world, so to speak, to caring about the opinion of peers, caring about what their friends say. That has been that's definitely been a hard adjustment. That's been a hard adjustment because it used to be a point in time where, of course, I could kiss them and didn't care. Now, especially, oh, she is all lovey dovey when we're behind closed doors, but out and about, mm-mm. She calls me weird when I try to kiss her out and about. She's like, "Oh no, mom, you're being." But when we're at home, oh, she wants to lay with me, and she we definitely are. We're like kittens curled up. Well, she wants to be. I'm definitely. I like my space, but she loves to be. My son has always been a little bit more of a distance. He likes his own space, for the most part. But yeah, that's been hard, seeing that adjustment, seeing them change. And I remember going through that. I remember just middle school hard. And I think that's the bigger question. Instead of, like, when we talk to girls, we talk about when they gained their confidence, we need to talk more about when they lost it. I definitely lost from middle school years until I got into high school. And the only reason why I feel like I found my confidence again when I got to high school was because I started dating again. Well, again, not, but I started dating. I actually had a boyfriend when I was in 10th grade. Ninth grade was a wash. But when I was in 10th grade, I actually had a boyfriend, and he was pretty cute. He was on the football team, and my confidence was boosted back. But in middle school, I lost a good amount of my hair.
Mm.
Um, I got a perm for the first time, and that perm took out my hair, and so it was really bad. And I remember just my mom she had to keep brushing my hair to stimulate growth because my hair was really just like coming out, and it was coming out in clumps. People thought I was going through chemotherapy. The only thing I didn't have was patches, which was very interesting. I didn't have any patches, but I lost my hair, but there were no like bald patches. But I literally lost. I had shoulder length hair. I went from shoulder hair to the way my hair is now, and so
Mhm.
you can imagine that as a 11. I mean, I'm starting at 11, but 12-year-old, that was
Mhm.
huge. So 12 and 13, I just had this huge loss of hair, and no one could figure out what it was. They couldn't figure out if it was alopecia. They said that it was because of the perm, but even with the perm, I didn't have the patches, so it was
You
just
know
a
what?
very odd thing.
Did
But
I just did my brother's S curl today. Instead of just curling the hair while it was in process, I accidentally straightened the hair
mhm.
and did it because his hair is kind of long, so he had to take the
Okay.
clippers and just you know cut it off some of the the edges and all that stuff. And I felt so bad because it wasn't supposed to turn out like that. But
but you guys in Cali, so but the length is good for guys to have, right?
yeah. It,
Yeah,
but
the length is good. So
yeah, it grew a little bit, since we've been on lockdown. We haven't even got our hairs done. So I want to ask you another question. Let's talk about
no,
marriage.
I definitely hear you there.
So
I definitely hear you there. I
how were- how
you know,
how were you able to get the man that you want?
funny, oddly enough, being a lot of confidence. Um, I always felt like this. Okay, so when I was in high school, I always felt like I had like a nice little body. I'm a short girl. I'm 5'2". I've always been top heavy. When I was coming in high school, no one cared about a ass. You didn't care about a butt. But I had hips, but I didn't have like a pout. My butt wasn't pouted. But I always felt like this, and I honestly did. Whenever I was like, I would write into my diary, my journals. I would talk with my mom. I always would say, if I could get one guy, I could get every guy. That was my mentality. It really was. If I could get one guy, I could get another guy. So
Right.
when I was in my year in college, I met my ex husband, my then boy, met my then husband, but ex husband. And when the more the more our relationship grew, to tell you the truth, the more interested guys seemed to be in me. I think that honestly, with me personally, me knowing that I could go home to someone every night, that gave me a real strut. It gave me a real confidence. And I remember too, like guys, when I would, be out, because I would go out to eat a lot alone. My ex husband was in law school. So I would go out to eat alone, or I would hang out at the bookstore all day. I'm still a girl, y'all. So I would do stuff like that, go to the library, hang out all day. But I was always meeting guys. I was always meeting guys. And they would always be so impressed with the fact that, my husband was a lawyer, or at the time, law school. And then when he became a lawyer, same thing. But they seem to be kind of, you know, uh, for lack of a better term, they seem to be a little turned on with that. Well, she's married to a lawyer, but she's giving me some time. Like she's giving me this time of day. So in a sense, that also boosts confidence, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like it also boosted them. And I look back on that, and it's kind of odd. It's really odd, but it likens me to the conversation that I've heard a lot of people saying. you know, oh, these rappers, they like the same chicks, like this. They talk about Lori Harvey being kind of like, making her rounds, so to speak. The Amber Roses making their rounds, the Black Chinas making their rounds, Althea Benzino's lady, these type of ladies. They're always talking about these basically the same women circulate. And I think I've seen that firsthand, where these guys, because of who you were with, it like increases their opinion of you. It increases their value in you. Um, it, I can't understand the psychology of it. I'm not a psychologist, but I can tell you that that's a real thing. And so that also fed me, when I was out there, the field, that I knew that me being a quote unquote kept woman, I wasn't just, a girlfriend, wasn't a baby mama. I had no children at the time, but I was this wife. I was this wife of this lawyer, but I was still out there dating, this guy and that guy. And I definitely have had I've had some, I've had some pretty interesting experiences. I've had some interesting experiences with some rappers, some ball
Oh.
players. I've
Mhm.
had some experience,
Oh man,
and I'm
rappers.
not saying that I was, I'm not just I have, yeah, I have, because I was, this was Philly circa when hip hop was getting hot. I was a booking agent. So yeah. So, I went on a couple of dates, with a couple of rappers, a couple of managers here and there. Not everybody that I was interacting with did I end up, having relations with sexually, but I definitely entertained I definitely was entertained very entertained by that lifestyle,
Do you
because
know
those
the
guys,
rappers that you
they
date?
had money, they would spend it.
The rappers that you
You said what?
yeah, the rappers that you
Hmm.
dated, do we know who they are today?
Yeah, like two of them, yeah. Some of a few of them, no, but two of them, yes.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah,
good.
they were visible. They were visible. They were hot. They had hits. They definitely had hits.
Okay, so what makes you wanted to marry your? So, how did you get your husband to propose?
Wow. My ex-husband was he he's 2 years older than me. He just had a birthday. Happy belated. His birthday was on Mother's Day.
Okay.
Um and I think he liked that I was, younger than him, and and he looks very young, but I think that he liked that I was younger than him, but I've always just thought he was just so brilliant. He's so smart. We always had really good conversations. Y'all have to understand too, like, I thought that just would come naturally. I came from a two-parent household, and my grandparents were married too. So getting married was something that I just thought naturally happened. I don't I look back on that now and I'm like, geez, shoot, I should have written a book. I should have tapped into this, because I should have documented my steps. Um it came very naturally. He was my first for everything, of course.
Mhm.
And we got engaged a year after we met. We met my freshman year at school. We went to FAMU. We started at FAMU. He ended up training. That was the funny thing. So imagine, okay, so I met my ex-husband literally a week after I buried my mom. My mom transitioned my freshman year in college, buried my mom, went back up to Florida A&M, And I remember I had gone out on a date on Valentine's Day with this he was a tennis player. His name was Robert. And he wanted to go all the way. And I was just like, no, I can't go all the way with you because you're not my boyfriend. You're not like my man. We're just like hanging out. And he just that didn't make sense to him, but he respected my decision or what have you. But he was definitely very cold for the remainder of the night. So anyway, I literally went back to my dorm room and I had my diary. I've always have kept the diary. Y'all, if y'all don't know, the importance of writing things down is everything. I promise you, something happens magical when you put pen to paper. It just does. And this is coming from a journalist, a writer all my life. Absolutely, it just does. But I literally wrote in my that night. I said, God, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired of just like, meeting these guys and making out with these guys. I said, I want the next man I meet to be my husband. And I literally wrote what I wanted him to look like. I said, I wanted him to be thin. I wanted him to be tall. I always like lanky guys. And I wanted him to have a lot of hair. And that was really the gist of it. I didn't think of, skin color or anything like that. I just said this was the gist of it. So I literally went back to I went to class on Monday, and there was a guy that I had been like, kind of checking out, and he fit that description. But I found out he was a smoker, and I didn't like smokers, and so I was like, oh, okay. I literally drew an X through written his name in my diary. I drew an X through his name, a line through his name. Then there was another guy, and I had seen him that Tuesday morning, and he was just acting super weird, and I was like, okay, this guy is weirding me out, so it can't be him. And I literally met my ex-husband that same afternoon, that Tuesday afternoon. It was February 17th, Michael Jordan's birthday. And he was coming up the sidewalk. Yeah, he was coming up the sidewalk. And I was like, I knew. He had on a shirt that said Johnny Field Nigga instead of Tommy Hilfiger. It said Johnny Field Nigga. And I said, that's my type of dude. I was like, okay, that's my type of dude. And I don't want to sound vain or nothing, but getting guys was never like, it just never was a hard thing for me. But I had gotten to the point where I wanted that, like, I wanted a real boyfriend, a man, and I knew that was him. And so yeah, we were inseparable, like almost immediately. I asked him to sit in my lap. He said no. And I was like so embarrassed because we were like out on this busy part of the college campus called the set. And so we had gone into the TV room, and I apologized to him. I apologized for, talking to him like that, treating him like he was a child. And I asked him I said, if I give you my number, will you call me? And he is so matter of fact. He's so matter of fact, like my son. He was like, well, I can't call you today because, I go to my parents' house and, they cook dinner on Tuesdays and I go to their house and we dinner. But he said, I'll call you tomorrow. And literally for 15 years, he called me every day. Every day. So yeah. So his interest in me, his love in me, it gave me, that was my strength, that was my strength for a long time. And I look back on that, and that literally was, that was how that's how I got my because, that was what always, used to drive me when I was out there. I'd be like, I don't have to put up with this. I got a husband. I don't have to put up with this. I can go into this room and do anything because I got this. I got a man. That really was a power to me. So being divorced and just being divorced and I was like over I wasn't cheating anymore. So it wasn't like I had like these, other guys to fall back on. It
Right.
was just me and me just stripped raw was it was hard. It was hard. I would say, the first 2 years after my divorce were like I was just like really in a daze. I was in a daze. I dated someone, but I was definitely in a those first 2 years. It was really hard seeing myself because so much of me was my ex-husband. We were together from the time I was 17 to the time I was, 33. So yeah,
Oh,
it was
okay.
definitely hard. Definitely hard.
Okay, everybody, you know you're my royal family, right? Show your crowns, show your
I,
appreciation. Get those thumbs up.
I'm gonna put mine up. I'm gonna put up a crown and a glow and a
Yes,
glower.
yes, do that. Subscribe to Omega Courtney's channel. The link is down below. So
Yes. Oh, I saw a comment too, you guys. Thank you. Miss Tina Viva, definitely get a notebook. I call them prayer books because literally I put all my prayers in them. But get a notebook, get a diary. People think of writing stuff down as being just like really juvenile. I promise you, I have kept a journal from the time I was 9 years old. And the only reason why I don't still have the bulk of them, is because when my ex-husband and I moved from Philadelphia, we moved to Virginia to wait for the birth of my daughter. We stayed in his parents' house, and his parents have a basement that flooded. So my journals got ruined. But man, if I get my hands back on those journals, I promise you, some things that I am going through right now, I know I wrote about. I know I wrote about it. Like I'm getting chills just thinking about it. I wrote these things down. So, and this was 10, 10, 12 years ago. But I know I wrote them. I know I put pen to paper. And I just think that it's just it's magical, but it's also undeniable. We look at our history after, with the Egyptians. Why do you think that they were so big on having the papyrus, creating the paper? They were building these maps, but they were journaling, they were writing, they were constructing, the hieroglyphics were telling stories, and I don't think they were telling stories of things that have happened. I think they were telling the stories of things that were to come. Because remember, as much as we know about hieroglyphics, nobody knows the exact science or the exact code or the exact translation of those hieroglyphics. I think that there were things that were happening literally years in the future that they were predicting and they were writing down. I think the butterfly effect, one of my favorite movies. Remember, he would have the notebook. Yeah, he would have to get into the notebook to go back to these different points in time. So I believe in the power of the pen. I definitely believe in the power of the pen. For years I've written down I wanted things to play out, and when they play out, it'll send shivers up my spine. So I've definitely been writing for the past few years about, how I want my husband to be. I want twins. So y'all don't be surprised now when y'all invited to the baby shower. When we throwing up those crowns. We're throwing up those crowns at the twins' baby shower.
Glow up.
Yes.
Subscribe to her channel and glow up. Oh my goodness. I'm
Yes.
I'm loving this.
Please.
So
Please.
so
We'll have the light bulbs and the crowns at the shower.
yes. So black men and traveling. You wouldn't like hear black men travel overseas. They often would say, the women here, they're not they're too masculine. You would hear them make all types of excuses why they don't date American women, that they have to go overseas and whatnot. So, and this is mostly black men saying this. I don't hear no other ethnic groups saying that, even though they do it themselves. But as a woman, how do you respond to that?
It's funny you should ask this because the first time that I really thought about this, I want to say this, and this is going to sound really bad for anybody listening, but I'm just going to be very real. It's the only way I can do it. I can't do it no other way. I didn't think about like what men were doing because I was doing my own thing. So when people be like, "Oh, are you worried about your husband doing that?" I'd be like, "Of course not." I ain't worried about him doing like I'm trying to keep myself together. So I remember reading an article. It was in Essence, and I read it. I read it at work when I want to say when I first came down here. It was when I first came down here to Miami. I read it while at work, and it was an article in Essence. They were talking about how like men were, this was like this new thing, and we're taking these trips to they had to be the Dominican Republic as one. I think they had Trinidad, and it was some other. It might have been Puerto Rico. It was some other countries, whatever,
Uh-huh.
islands.
Mhm.
And I was just like, how I just thought it was really foul. And I really didn't think too much of it. I remember like talking with my husband about it. We just thought like the whole thing was just like kind of corny. Um, but when I was with this gentleman after my divorce, I was engaged to him for 3 years. And he would always have these stories about how his friends. Now, my ex was who was telling me this, he was black, but his friends that were having these experiences they weren't black. They were white, they were Spanish. But he was talking about, oh, his friend went to the Dominican Republic and they had the most beautiful girls you ever could see. They all lined up and he chose three of them and they all would go take a shower together and then they would, have these menage a trois orgies, whatever.
Oh,
And,
goodness.
let me tell you, his eyes would glass over. Like he really was telling me this shit like he was like a kid talking about in Disneyland type stuff. And I would be looking at him like, first of all, I bet these weren't really like the best looking ladies you could ever imagine. Of
Yes.
course, they're going to tell you that.
Yes.
Who's going to tell you, oh, this girl random chick I'm sticking my stuff in is a four? No. Of course they're gonna tell you, oh no, this girl was, Jennifer Lopez's and Beyonce just waiting to jump all on it over here. They're telling you that, and you ain't there. So of course they're gonna paint this whole picture for you, right? And so the second thing I was telling him, because he was always talking, always telling me, oh, or often telling me, oh, he could understand what the attraction and the appeal is to that because black girls. He's found that the black girls in the strip clubs, because he would like to frequent strip clubs. And he
Uh-huh.
would say, "Oh, the black girls, the black girls in the strip clubs they had a worse attitude as compared to the Spanish girls." And I was like, I think that's just a kind of a real shady thing for you to say because, the black girls probably are having to do 3 times as much work to get, a little bit of dollar, a little bit of coin, as they say. than these non-black girls, and it's a strip club. So imagine these black girls be having to do all types of shenanigans to get up the same amount of money that because black men don't, they like to really play this game like they don't really understand or appreciate that they put more value in girls that are not black. And so they want all black girls to behave as though that doesn't matter or affect us, but it does. And I think, especially in a strip club, it would, because I know full well a black dude in the strip club is just automatically off rip. It probably expecting for his thing to get sucked and licked on from the black girl. But for the white girl or the light girl or the non-black girl, they settling for just a nasty grind session.
Yes.
They'll settle for that from her. But from the black girl, they want the black girl to bust it all out and to go all out with it. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and I remember too, he had told me one time that black girls kind of, all the black girls he's dated, they lose their like there's a time limit on their carefree, kind of good attitude. They all lose it by the third month. And I told him like this, I said, well, do you pick up a bill by the third month? Because that's what wears off. The good
Right.
feeling of, oh, we going out, we having a good time, that wears off when the third month those bills are starting to be due. But they've been spending all of this time with you, and they might have fallen behind a little bit. And if you're not offering nothing towards their bills, then of course they're going to get a little, they get a little antsy, they get a little agitated, they get a little frustrated. So,
Right.
and that was something too that I found and discovered like all in my 30s, because my 20s and my early 30s I was married. So I really didn't get it. I really didn't get it. And it was funny because so many guys would tell me that. They would be like, "Oh, you're so like," they would always tell me I'm like a white girl trapped in a black girl body, because I was so just nonchalant, bouncy, carefree, and da 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 da. Y'all, because I didn't have no bills. My ex-husband, what, like I said, trust and believe. I wasn't going, on no exotic trips and, had, red bottoms, but for the most part, like I didn't see a bill until I literally didn't pay any of my own bills until after I was divorced. I
Uh-huh.
didn't, you know, I, I'm embarrassed to say this, but I didn't file my taxes. I had never done stuff like that. Um, balance a checkbook, but I mean that was like bare minimum. But I really didn't know how to keep a household functioning financially, because my ex-husband did all that. And so, because that's where his mental was going, I was able
Mhm.
to be fun. I was able to be carefree. I was able to be cute and just, and prance around and do all this stuff.
Mhm.
To get what black guys and black women were complaining about until I was out there into the dating world, which wasn't until my, mid 30s. So I trust me, I picked up on it very quickly. I do not do dating sites. I don't do none of that stuff. I have been, like I said, single and celibate for 5 years, and definitely, I just feel like I can go without it. I just will go without it, and until my husband comes, I'm good. I'm good. I do. The
Yeah,
dating scene can totally miss me. I do not have time to play those games.
exactly. Because I'm doing myself right now, going to school trying to get my bachelor's. Because I'm almost, I graduate next fall, so I'm trying to focus on, finishing school
Beautiful.
right now. And yes, that
And put up a crown for you, sir.
so as a,
Amen.
I'm trying to, to get all this done, because I put in a lot of hard work into what I do, because this is what I'm doing right now is what I love. So because when a man
Of course. Of
interferes,
course.
women can date, there's nothing wrong with that, but don't let a man be your distraction while you're trying to trying to graduate from school.
Mm,
Yes. So
right. Right.
so
No, and I definitely hear you there. I'm very guilty
so with men, you know
because definitely hindsight is 2020.
when they go overseas, they always want to brag about the women, but they never want to brag about their entrepreneurship or what they do. They never do that. And that's what, as a woman, that's what
They
turns.
can't do that.
Yeah, because they don't got nothing to show for it. It's like, you're just whatever little money
No,
that you're going overseas, you're that is nothing, because just because you have $1 million, over there, that don't mean nothing to them. $1 million don't mean nothing to them. When you come back over here, you're broke. You coming back into
thank
the.
you. Thank you.
So it's back to reality. You go, you ain't gonna stay there forever, unless that's what you chose to do. But even if you live, in that country, you'll be broke.
No, they don't. They run out of money over there because they're tricking. They're tricking off, showing they're having a pretend lifestyle over there.
Yeah.
You know who talks about this pretty frequently?
Huh?
Yeah,
You
yeah, they
said
talk. I said this there's this YouTuber, his name is Ask a Classy Black Man. He talks
what?
about this pretty frequently, as well as another one. His name is C Boogie. They both talk about this very, very consistently, though they disagree with uh the way a man creates value in himself. But for the most part, they both have that same talking point about men that talk about going overseas and getting these. They talk about these women that they bring back, and nothing that they both say. These men will go to this other country and they'll bring back a woman that got kids, but they won't date a sister with kids over here. Make it make sense, y'all. Make it make
Right.
sense. You know, they won't date a sister with kids over here, but they'll go over there and
That's
bring back somebody with some kids, and then the thing is, oh, she don't look like she got kids. Like that's the claim to fame. She don't look like she have
yeah.
kids. Okay, but she
Yeah,
still
yeah,
she
but
still
they
got them.
always complain about, oh, it's the baby
But
mama.
you told me you weren't interested in like this guy here in my neighborhood.
It's
Same.
always
He had told me
it's the
he
same
couldn't be
song
with
with
me because he deserved. These were his exact words. To have his own children.
them. Oh
That's what
goodness,
he told me.
Courtney, these guys, they like to
But
hold on, Courtney.
he started calling me.
Courtney.
Oh man, about 2 months after the fact, after we had this sit down conversation, his house, his lawn, and then, huh?
Oh, you're fading in and out. I can barely, hear your words out. Are you having a storm where you're at? Uh-oh. I'm losing her. Oh my God, I'm losing her. Everybody get those crowns up.
Oh,
Show your support.
thank
Glow up too. Glow up too. Get those
y'all.
crowns. Yes. Yes.
Amen.
I think I'm very
Get your
good.
glow in your crown down.
Yeah.
But he would call me up and ask me, oh, why he was trying to see this girl, and this girl wasn't giving him the time of day. And come to find out, the girl had two children, a 15-year-old, a whole teenager boy, and a young boy, a boy that was like 7 or 8. And I said, I figured out him real quick, sis. I was like, oh, that boy done told the daddy. And so, the daddy probably has told her, hey, you keep dating this, because the woman was Spanish. I said
Mhm.
the dad probably told the boy, hey, you keep dating this, bringing this black dude around my son. I'm not cutting you off no more checks. And so it's done. But when I told him that, man, his eyes were like, wow. Like I figured that shit out like immediately. But it took him, he's talking about somehow they had good chemistry and this and that. And I said, that don't matter nothing next to when she's trying to get her coin. And if
Right.
this ex of hers is, definitely still in the lives because he got two boys. He's still contributing. He's still, making sure his sons have stuff and this and that. Honey, she's eating off some of it too. And don't get it twisted. She eating off some of it, and she's still getting down with him. Okay,
Exactly.
so she can make sure her coins stay intact.
Exactly.
So a lot of these black dudes, man, let me tell you, that's why they on this whole green towel, red pill, whatever, because they really have no real clue, and they don't want to have a clue on what's happening, what's the real in regards of their value. The women that they are chasing after don't value them.
Mhm.
That's real. That's real. They don't want to have that conversation. They don't want to have that conversation.
What they
I
have
don't know nothing I don't know nothing when I'm coming like that.
some reason, like they like to talk to black women about other girls. Like they're trying to like, make us feel bad because, we're not like,
Yes.
Latinas over there,
Yes.
and they're trying to bring that on us. And I'm like, I don't care. Like your it, just because your way of think, this is how the way you think, doesn't mean, that's the other guy's way of thinking, because as black women, we can still get a man. Trust me, I pull men. Even though, I'm like,
Thank
I'm
you.
I'm like, kind of chubby, I can still pull men. And it's not because of your weight, it's because of your confidence and how you carry yourself.
No, but that's the thing, right?
But men would like to
You can
bully
still
you.
pull.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
And but the thing is, men would like
trust
to
me, and
bully
those
you.
be the main ones that say they don't want be the main ones laying with.
Yeah, these men like to bully women based on their
Mm-hmm.
looks, and
Mm-hmm.
their weight, just to bring down their low self-esteem. And these men, you have to, put them on ignore, because they don't got
Yeah.
nothing going on with their lives, and they want to bring you down because you feel good about yourself and they don't feel the same way. So as women, we gotta, we leave these men alone, because they're just seeking for attention. They just, they want validation, and that's pretty sad. So I have another question. What
Oh
would
yeah, they do.
so what would you tell the young girls out there about, dating older men? Because you know how these older men, want to date, these young women, you know because they're more prettier than, and a woman that's 25 and under.
Mm. You know what? I recently just started following this page. I'm gonna drop it here into the channel as well. I sent a link to it. I don't know if you had a chance to watch it, but her name is Saucus Ray. Man, and I'm telling you, I've been getting my life for the past 3 days.
You said
I
soccer?
was very much into all of these, the hypergamy. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you didn't know she passed away?
um, huh?
You didn't know she passed away?
Oh no, not Sansa Ray. No, 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 not Sansa Ray. Her name is Saucus Ray.
Oh,
She's
okay. Not okay.
I
That's
put
a different
it
person.
in there. I put it in the chat room. Yeah,
Oh,
and I've heard too that yes, different person. I sent you a link to her too, so you can check her out. But
okay.
and I've heard too that Sansa Ray is not really dead. Also, nobody can find no death certificates. But
Oh,
this Saucus Ray, I've been watching her, and I have been getting my life. When I tell you getting my life, getting my life. So she has created this movement called the Ugly Girls Club. And the reason why she calls it the Ugly Girls Club, because she's like, if you say that this is what you are yourself, nobody can use that against you to like, try to belittle you, right? So
mhm.
they can't use that and say, oh, well, you're ugly to bring down your self-esteem because you're already saying this is what I am. So trust me, she's beautiful. She ain't ugly either, but this is how she, presents it. But her videos are so on point because y'all, I was following all of these little hypergamy channels. I was following Chrissy and following Julesy and Julie's not really hypergamy, me, but Julesy has some, she's an intellectual, but she just has some weird ideas with how, in my opinion, of how to deal with men. I think a lot of that is still very toxic. Y'all, I'm not trying to be, I don't know about anybody else, and to each his own, of course, but I'm not trying to be no girlfriend at 40. I'm just not. I'm not.
Oh,
I was married. I was a wife at 19. Ain't no reason I'm trying to be a girlfriend at 40. I'm not interested.
oh,
So, um, all of this, having sex with this one and that one, you control your sexuality. If that's what y'all call control your sexuality, I ain't interested in it. I'm not interested in
yeah.
controlling it then.
But nowadays, men just want
I
sexual
will.
out to put in.
Exactly. So it's like in their own way, they're supporting the whole pump and dump. Like I'm not
Yeah.
into it. So I had already kind of been giving these channels the side eye a little bit, but now since subscribing to Saucus Ray, I am totally done with those, this is how you level up. And then a lot of times too, these ladies that be telling you how to level up, they got a piece of a boyfriend and they don't even want to show their face. So who are you, first of all? And secondly, you're talking about a boyfriend, but you telling somebody else how to get a husband. You don't have a husband. How are you gonna tell me?
But
So I love her
my
channel. She
brother,
keeps it very real
yeah.
about Black women, about just us really closing our legs. And I tell my nieces this. I have several nieces, um, and my nephews same way, and I have a daughter and a son. But the way you're gonna find out if somebody really likes you or not, and I was saying this before even finding Saucus Ray. So the fact that she's been saying this, um, uh, I, I, this is confirmation. But the way that you really find out if someone is into you is by not having sex with them. Because I'm telling you, even having sex with them, they will use that against you. And I know that for a fact because the gentleman that I was engaged to did it. He told me that he didn't realize I was serious about marriage because we had sex. So we had sex already. So what was like kind of like what was the point? Like
They
this
try
dude was in his
like
40s.
men are trying to shame women now for not having sex with them, so they can get their way into getting them in bed. And it's like it's not working anymore because we already been through that. So
True. But they also are shaming you for having it too. Because he was like,
yeah,
because we had sex already, he didn't really feel like I was serious about getting married. And I was like, huh? And he was like, well, because you said that you and your ex-husband, y'all didn't until y'all were married. So I thought that because we already had, you weren't caring about being married. Huh? How are you
what?
going to compare me? Yes, this is
Business.
what he told me. A man in his 40s.
Oh
It made
goodness.
no sense. A man in his 40s. You're comparing the way Courtney acted at 19 when I was married, as opposed to the way Courtney is acting in her 30s. Hello. But you're gonna use that as your rule of thumb as that's why you thought I didn't want to. Like who like and that's what I think is also a big travesty. Who are these women going around telling these men they don't want to get married? Man, stop that. If that's not what you want to do, keep that to yourself. Don't tell him. Don't
I
tell
have to
him.
tell you, I have to tell you, Courtney. I heard this story like 2 years ago. There was this woman. They was having a block party, right? And this man
Hmm.
asked this woman to dance, and this was a black woman and a black man, and um, he asked her for a dance, and she said no. And I guess he kept, begging her and begging her, and she just keep blowing him off, and I guess this man can't handle rejection that well, so he takes out a gun and shoots her.
Oh yeah, I've heard of the same things, and those are isolated cases. I've heard of uh uh something as recent as three or 4 months ago. A woman was viciously raped by a man in a parking garage because she had refused his advances earlier. He followed her down after underneath the mall and
Hmm.
viciously raped her and killed her. Yeah, yeah. I definitely have heard of it. Yeah.
Cause these men, like, oh my God, the rejection to them is like very horrible. They just can't handle it. Here's the thing to make these guys feel better. Like, if they were able to, like, if I were to run into a guy that I've had suspicion that I knew he was crazy, I would just give him I would, like, get his number and won't call him ever, just so he can make his ego
Hmm.
feel better, and I won't call him at all.
Uh, 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 well, yeah, you definitely. I mean, I honestly, I've never kind of been in that situation, and I've lived a
Mhm.
lot of places: Virginia, Atlanta, Philadelphia, of course, Tempe.
Mhm.
Just a lot of places. Fortunately, I've never been in that situation, but I would
Mhm.
have. I've heard like I was one time at the gym, this girl came in with her friend, and she was like, my friend doesn't have a membership, but can
Mhm.
she just hang out here in the front because this guy is like totally waiting outside for her to come out because she was coming in here to work out, and she would
Mhm.
talk to him after about giving her number. And I just, I was there at the front desk when she said that, and at first I was like, well, who's really doing that out there? But he literally stayed out there. When I tell you, he stayed out there for about three about he stayed out there for almost 3 hours
Oh
waiting
wow.
for her to come out. Yeah, because he was still out there when not when we were about to close the club, but we used to close a certain part of the gym at a after a certain hour, and he was still just and just hanging, like he wasn't looking like he was pacing, he wasn't smoking, none of that. He was just hanging, but he was definitely not looking, trying not to look suspect, but he was totally looking suspect, and because they had already pointed him out, and so it got to the point where she was just like, well, I'm just gonna go, but her friend was like, no, if he's been hanging out there for 3 hours, he ain't gonna, like, this dude ain't gonna just take no for an answer. And so we had to show her another way to go down like these stairs behind the gym.
Right.
So he didn't have to go back past. But this is a very real thing, and I've seen it more. I've seen it more prevalently here in definitely here in Philadelphia. I mean here in Miami than here in Philadelphia than in Philadelphia.
Yeah, they're in California too. Trust me, these dudes, you
Oh,
know,
I can imagine. Yeah.
like, I had this dude, and it's happened like back in 2012. when I was in trade school. So me and my friend at the time, were going to, we was in our trade because I was taking child development. And I stopped and we asked this dude, do you know which street, this is on or what? And he said, oh, which bus to take. He's like, oh yes, because go down here, blah blah blah, and me and my friend, we started, we said thank you and we went on. He's like, hey, can I get your number? I told him politely, no, thank you. And he's like, can I get it? He just kept bugging me to a point that I said no. And then he started cussing me out, calling me all types of names. And it's
Wow.
because I rejected him. Like, thank God this dude did not have a knife or a gun and and stab me. Thank God, but
Agreed.
yeah, but I made it out alive. you know.
No, I agree. I agree. I've seen, like I said, I've definitely seen some things. I thank God, I just haven't been in the midst of them, but I've definitely seen some things that have happened. I've always been kind of, very, okay. So this. It was funny to me, but this happened, and some people like this was not like a funny situation to them. It doesn't sound funny, but it was funny to me. But I remember when I first moved down here and I was living over in Broward, there was this I was taking the bus home, which was a really long trip coming from the gym, because I worked at the gym in Hollywood and I lived in a place called Inverary in Miami. Sorry, in Broward. And the gentleman was mute. He was deaf and he couldn't talk. But when I tell you he was making these motions, y'all, it just whatever your imagination takes you, let it take you there. He was making these motions to let me know that he could, have sex really good. Like he was biting his lip and rolling his hips. And I
Girl.
was like really trying to ignore him. So I was trying to ignore him, like looking away. And he would tap me on my shoulder and he would make these motions again. And I would be like, yo, this is really crazy. So when my stop came, his stop came. When his stop came, he got off the bus and he waved at me through the window. And when I tell you, he just started gyrating his private real fast and hard.
Oh
Like,
my
you know,
God. That is
I
so
this is
much.
the only time stuff like this has happened. And
Oh,
I got off I was supposed to get off 2 stops later, but I literally went 3 stops. And I'm not even kidding you. When I got off those 3 stops, I saw him cutting through the other side of the complex. And
mhm.
I was like, oh, this dude, like, even though my dad always used to say this, my dad used to always say, don't think because it's the first time you saw somebody, that's the first time they saw you. You feel me? Very key words. My dad used to always tell me that. Don't think that because, you never recognize this person that they never recognize you. Because I literally went 3 stops over. And so my complex was pretty big, but I didn't get off the next stop, which was the stop after his. I got off 2 more stops just because when I tell you he was doing the motions like I was right in front of him and he was pounding. And so when I got off on my stop, which was
Oh,
3 stops later, I
uh-huh.
saw him cutting on the other side of the complex. Y'all, I was so scared. I didn't go to my apartment because I had my babies. My babies were in my apartment at the time. So I didn't go to my well, it was a condo, it wasn't an apartment, but I didn't go to my condo. I went like all the way around to the other side and hung out by the clubhouse, by the pool until it got dark. But I tell you, that was, and he can't talk. He couldn't even talk. But he could let me know that he had a stroke game. I'm
Mhm.
telling you, these men be something else.
Mhm.
These men be they do, and the extreme that he was willing to go through, the
Mhm.
extreme that he was willing to go through was definitely crazy.
Yeah.
Was definitely real talk.
Hey, I tell you, man, these guys are crazy nowadays. They don't even want to fix themselves about okay, so there's something that I'm doing that making these women reject me, and but they don't think about that. They
No, oh no, they can't admit that, sis. For
those
what? No, that's why we were talking about earlier today. They don't they don't have any desire to be accountable or to own up. Like that to them is dirty words. Why would I do that? Why would I admit that? You know. My ex told me, not my ex-husband, but the guy I was engaged to, he told me I wasn't gonna be satisfied till I saw him curled up in a ball and crying. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, dude, I'm just saying, I'm for sure you're in your 40s. There have been things in your past that have hurt you, that have, and I'm saying we need to get to what that is before we get married. So, what is it? What's going on in your past? Like, how all these things happening around you, but these things that went on in your past don't affect you? You know, your mom basically abandoned you so she could become a stewardess, dude. Like you was raising yourself for a good portion of your elementary years, but this don't affect you. You good. They
oh,
don't want to admit any of that because I think that it makes them feel less of a man. Men have a real warped sense of masculinity. And it makes them feel less of a man if they admit that they were hurt, if they admit that they were, embarrassed, if they admit that they were ashamed, if they admit that they were weak. Like somebody's gonna expect a 5-year-old boy to be strong.
but the thing is, they don't have to tell nobody that. They have to realize in themselves that they are the ones that have that problem. They have to recognize that. And once they were able to recognize that they have a problem, they're gonna have to fix it themselves. Nobody can fix it for them. But as you know, they're not gonna admit that they have a problem. They think they're all right. There was another story.
No, yeah, that's the trick of the devil. Once again, that's a trick of the enemy.
Exactly. Here's the thing. I just read a story, last week, and it's just, came to me, and this story happened like 2 years ago. A man in Las Vegas kidnapped two of his children, a 15-year-old boy and and a 12-year-old girl. He stabs the 12-year-old girl to death, stabs the mom and the boy. Both the mom and the boy recover,
Mm,
but the 12-year-old girl is dead.
no.
And he trying to you shoot himself in the
Wow.
yeah, shoot himself in the head. But he survived as well. So we're still waiting on the story on what happens next to see if he's gonna get convicted. I hope he gets convicted of murdering this little baby, because she did not deserve to die.
Of
She does
course.
not deserve to be stabbed by her own father. By her own father. He was just such a
Wow.
narcissist. I guess because the mother, was going to leave him and she was going to take custody of the kids, and he did not want that. So he decided to try to kill off the whole family and himself, and it didn't. Well, killing himself didn't work, but he did kill the girl.
Wow. Wow. And,
Yeah,
there's countless other cases and things that are going on right now with this pandemic and this lockdown with domestic violence being up. They put up a post on Facebook of all of the cases of, where they put up women, and one of the last couple of posts that I saw, they were men, but most of them were women that put up their pictures, and these pictures were like, you think that Rihanna and Chris Brown, those shots look the mess. Man, these women look like they've been, they've gone through a war. Just one lady had, dents, like literally they were visible dents all over her forehead. You wondering what was this person even using? What causes this? But this is unfortunately what happens when this rage, when this toxic mentality is just bottled up. My parents were both educators at one point before becoming social workers. My grandmother spent, her career being, her professional career mostly was being an educator. She was a principal. She was a principal in Alamo Park High School, before it was Ida B. Wells over in California. But she used to always say the teens that she was most afraid of were the ones that didn't talk. She said, and those were always, these boys, white boys usually. She said they didn't talk. She said the black boys, they acted out. They would curse, they acted out. But the white boys, they never talked. And she was always very afraid of, and this was before Columbine. So when I tell you, my grandmother was definitely, she was a woman wise beyond her years, definitely. But she would always say that the kids that don't talk, those are the ones to really be concerned with. The quiet ones, the isolated ones. That's why even with my son, I check him because he can play by himself for hours. I always have to go out and see, what are you doing? What's going on? Okay, well, what's that? Who's this character? What's going on there? What are they talking about? Because yeah, when you're left to your own thoughts, imagine what you just dream up. Imagine what you conjure when you just left to your own thoughts, and your thoughts can be very dangerous. Very
exactly.
dangerous. There's no point of reference. Nobody's checking you. They can be very dangerous.
Yeah, yeah. The quiet ones are always the most dangerous. But
Hmm.
my last question is, what advice do you want to give the women out there that has low self-esteem about themselves? And what would you like to say to them?
Wow. I'd like to talk to women the same way I talk to my daughters, the same way I talk to my nieces, the same way I talk to my younger self.
Mm-hmm.
Write a letter to your younger self. Y'all know how I love the power of the pen. I'm a big Iyanla Van Zant fan. I'm a fan Zant. Okay. Write a letter to your younger self and apologize. You know, apologize for just whatever. Like, I wrote a letter to my younger self. I apologize for telling my younger self that she wasn't pretty because she had a big nose.
Uh,
Apologize to my younger self because I didn't, because I thought your name was weird. So I wouldn't tell people what my name was. I wouldn't tell people my whole name. I would just always tell them Courtney. I wouldn't tell them Courtney Omega because I didn't like Omega. I thought that was such a weird name. Um, I apologize for not thinking my dad was strong, for not wanting to take his advice or look up to him because my mom, she was very masculine. She very much ran the household, and I used to just not want to. bond with my dad because I just thought he was a lame. I thought he was just such a lame. Like, oh my gosh, mom runs him. Da 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 da. Um, definitely apologize. Just write a letter to yourself. For whatever reason, but your younger self, and when you are done with that letter, when you're done with that letter, you tear it up.
Exactly.
Rip the list. Rip the list. You tear it up because that old way of thinking, you've got to do something that symbolizes that that's gone. That's gone. You are no longer going to be held captive to thinking that you are less than, to thinking that you are not as important. There was a sign that was in my mother's office, and I never forget. And I used to I still tell it sometimes, but I used to tell it to my kids all the time. But it says, "You are a child of the universe, no less than the moon and the stars. You have the right to be here and to sing your song, whatever it may be." Whatever it may be. And tell yourself that again and again and again, as many times as you need to. When you wake up in the morning, you do that. Because confidence, like I said, it's got to come within you. Nobody can give that to you. And the God's honest truth is nobody would, because that's so powerful. Nobody will give that to you. It is something that you have to own, and you have to be aware of in yourself. And it doesn't come in a hair length. I'm here to tell y'all, ladies, because for years I thought it did. It doesn't come in the size of your ass. It doesn't come in how good what you have in between your legs is, because guess what? Just as good as yours is, somebody else is too. It doesn't come in the color of your skin, nor your height, nor your bank account. It comes from within. And that's all I got. That's all I got, crowners. Okay.
Mm,
Heavy is the head that wears the crown. All right. It may tip off, but don't let it fall down. It may tip, but don't let it fall down.
yep.
Amen.
Remember that you are royal. Amen.
Amen.
And I'm just gonna make an apology to myself, my younger self, because I shouldn't have protected myself and listened to my intuition when it was there. I just
Mm.
people just run over me, talk crazy to me, and I just, I was just a follower instead of just following myself as a person.
Mm.
And
Come on.
at the end of the day, like Omega said, nobody can give you those confidence like you can. You have to feel confident because a man can make you feel so small because that's
Yes.
how he feel about himself.
Never give that power to someone else. Because trust me, they wouldn't give it to you.
Yes, because he don't feel good about himself. So he sees you, another person with low self-esteem. Because trust me, guys can, get a vibe off a girl that has low self-esteem. They will try to
Yes.
pull you down to their level so
Mm.
they make them feel good. But I said still rise above that. Rise above that and stay there because you are bigger than that. You don't have to stoop yourself that low just for that man. No, you stay high as where you're at. Never do that because I've been hearing women's stories that, you know, they're going out loud for this man. They worry about if they don't do this to this man that, they're going to leave them. And I was like, let them leave. Let them. Because at the end of the day, they're not doing anything for
Hmm.
you.
Let them go.
Let them go. At
Come
the
on. Let
Yes.
them go. Let
They're
them go.
they're not doing anything for you but bringing you down and giving you more stress and making you feel less as a person. And I said get rid of that person because that person don't need to be in your life. You got other people that are positive because they have confidence in themselves. And I tell you to my royal family, be around people that has confidence in themselves. And when you're around people that have confidence within themselves, you will start having confidence in yourself because you are around positive people. And that's
Very
what
true.
yeah,
Very true.
and that's all I have to say. So I'm going to end this live stream right here. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Omega Courtney. Everybody subscribe to Omega's Courtney's channel. Okay? Glow up.
Thank you. Thank you. Glow up. And thank you guys for having thank you, Black Princess, for having me on. Thank you, Royal Family, for allowing me to come into the court today. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed sharing. I enjoyed the interaction.
Mhm.
And you know what? Let's continue to build. Let's continue to grow this glow and this royal family together because y'all, that's really the only way. You feed into we must start to feed each other regardless of the long hand spoons we have. We've got to use it to feed each other
Exactly.
instead of trying to feed ourselves. Yeah.
Exactly.
Amen. I thank
So,
y'all so much. And and y'all throw them X's up. It's still Malcolm X Day. Hey.
yeah, exactly.
Throw them
That's it.
X's up. Amen.
Yeah,
Amen. I
yeah.
love y'all. Thank you so much for
So,
having me.
yeah, so go and subscribe to Courtney's channel so you guys can glow up. She will help you get there.
Amen.
Trust
We're living life intentionally.
me. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Living life intentionally. Growing up is a blessing, but growing up is a blessing, but glowing up it's intense. It's intentional. Okay? So,
Mhm.
it's not a promise that you're going to glow up just because you grow up. You must be intentional.
Exactly.
Amen.
Amen to that.
Amen.
So
Thank you
everybody,
so much.
yes, thank you. Thank you. It was a pleasure for you to be on my channel. I appreciate it. So everybody, the royal family, like, share, subscribe. See you next time. Bye.